What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's summer has been as good as mine has been, although mine has been pretty quiet. Not a lot of baseball and softball news so far to talk about, but we've been pretty busy in the big troll room. A lot of football, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But we're really excited to bring you a special edition episode of the Rubber Match. Like I kind of mentioned when we did our season in review back in June, most of these episodes would be occasional right now. Again, it's a very seasonal show. There's not a lot going on baseball, softball news right now as we're in the end or the back half of August, I should say. But the good news is we do have fall ball getting started. Students are back on campus. So I figured what better time than now to do a rubber match, just reviewing the summer, talking about the MLB draft, about some of the new faces coming to the Hill, not to mention as well Dudley Dawson going to join the show to talk baseball, obviously, because that's what we always do, but also talk a little bit about softball as the Razorbacks and Courtney Deifel's team just had their first team meeting the other day. So slowly and surely we'll start getting some news at a Bogle Park, I should say, and Baum Walker Stadium. So it's a really exciting time. Again, not too much news going on. Still exciting overall. Students are back. School is here. Crazy that we're already towards the end of August and September right around the corner, but we'll talk some baseball news. Again, guys, I'll do my normal housekeeping like we always do. Keep this short. We'll get you to Dudley as quickly as possible. I filmed that with him yesterday, so it's a little bit of a delayed show. We put it together. Took some extra time for this one. So you'll notice different polo that I wear for this and Dudley just to disalarm everybody at home, but it's a really fun time for Arkansas baseball and softball. I think softball definitely has more hype than Arkansas baseball as we head to 2026, just because of the roster turnover wasn't as crazy for softball as it was for baseball. Again, Dudley and I will break all of that down coming up in just a bit, so stick around for that interview. Again, I'll get you there as quickly as possible. But let's do our normal housekeeping stuff. As always, we will go through our dinger and K count. Our Eloy dinger count, that's at 0 now. I hope you guys know that this is more a joke than anything else, that our dinger counts at 0. Again, it's a new season. It's the 2025-2026 school year. 2024-2025 is in the books. It's done. It's over with. So now we're just having some fun. So Cahillo, it's a good thing I don't really have to change this graphic, but hey, let me know in the comments. I might add a Ryder Helfrich dinger count next year as well. I think both of those will be really fun to keep track of. If you want that, whatever you guys want, I like to be a man of the people. Whatever you guys want me to do, I'm happy to do it. So like, subscribe, comment below what you think I should do. So our dinger count for Cahillo Eloy is at 0. Nice to see him returning. Had a really good summer out in the Cape Cod League. So we'll talk about that with Dudley again as well. And one of his future teammates, now current teammate, who was the Cape Cod League MVP, and Micah New. We'll get to him in just a second. As for our Gabe Gackle K count, that is also at 0. I think Gackle is the interesting piece in the 2026 Arkansas pitching staff, because he now needs to be the ace. There is no more, well, he's a sophomore, he's transitioning to a starter role from the bullpen. I don't think that you get any more breathing room and any more legway if you're Gabe Gackle. There's no more excuses. This is now your team. You've been here as a freshman. Then last year, obviously, sophomore made Omaha, was pretty much the number one pitcher towards the end of the season when he went back to the bullpen. And now this is your team, Gabe and Ryder. It's the two California kids. It's their team in 2026. So it'll be really fun to watch. But Gabe Gackle's K count at 0. Obviously, we will still have our Gackle K count coming up in 2026 as well. As for what the field is going to look like in the team itself, this is what's really intriguing to me, because we have a lot of pieces that are different on our map right now. Usually you've seen Brent Iredale, Charles Davalon, Zach Root on the mound as well, Justin Thomas Jr. in center. Now we've kind of flipped that. There's a lot of consistency, I think, in the infield. Again, this is my way too early day one lineup prediction that I have for the Razorbacks. I've got Reese Robinette at first. It seems like after we talked to Dave Van Horn a couple of days ago that's going to be pretty stout, and that Robinette's going to be the first baseman, again, unless he loses the job somehow, which DVH said he probably won't, so Reese will be at first. Then I do think Nolan Souza is going to end up playing second base. I think you could slide him to shortstop if you want to put Pompey at third, but again, this is my way too early prediction. Might all be wrong. Who knows? So I got Souza at second. Again, he won't see too much time during fall ball. He'll play the field a little bit while he rehabs and recovers his shoulder. Then TJ Pompey, Texas Tech transfer. He'll be my shortstop right now. That might change. I'm not really sure. I think shortstop is the biggest question on this team. I don't even have Landon Schaefer, the Fayetteville native, who could very well be the opening day shortstop. We don't know that. And then Cam Kojal at third. DVH teased a couple of weeks ago that you might see Kojal at third base, which I think could be really intriguing. Gabe Gackle on the mound, Ryder Helfrich behind the plate. I do still have Cahillo Eloy at DH. I don't think he gets into the outfield on opening day. I still think that Brenton Clark has a little bit better of a glove, and we saw flashes of that over the summer. Clark went out, was the team MVP out in his summer ball league, so I like Brenton Clark out there as well. Then this is the big name, right? Micah New. It's really funny because there isn't the portal class I think DVH and company wanted. You don't have a lot of high name kids. A lot of them did not come to Arkansas for various reasons. We don't know any of them, and I'm not going to stand up here and speculate on why Arkansas's portal class is what it is. But you did land the Cape Cod player of the league, the MVP of the league this summer in Micah New. I think he slots in pretty handedly in center field. And Zach Stewart, the Missouri State transfer, I think he takes over for Davalon in left field. So that's my way too early lineup for this Razorback team. There's a lot that's going to change, and I think it could change with the pitching staff. Maybe you'll see Cole Gibbler get the opening day start. I think, and Dudley and I talk about this. Parker Coyle is back. Maybe he'll be your Friday starter, which would be really big for the Razorbacks. So it's a really interesting time. And again, we don't have a lot of answers. That's the fun thing. And that's why we are doing this way too early. This is just having fun on a Thursday morning. So without further ado, let's get you out to that interview with Dudley. Dudley Dawson going to join the show when we come back from the break. The rubber match returns after this. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back into the show. Excited to be joined by special guest Dudley Dawson. Dudley, a lot has happened with baseball and softball over the summer. Obviously, we know how both of those seasons ended. We talked about that late in June. Now we are towards the end of August, and we've seen the fallout of two really great seasons. We'll get to softball, but let's start with baseball, and specifically with the guys that went to the major leagues and the MLB draft. You had 4 Razorbacks taken in the first round. Gage Wood goes off the board to Philly. Vahiva Aloy to Baltimore. Then both Zach Root, Charles Davalon, they go to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Were you surprised by the amount of draft picks, not only in the first round, but the Razorbacks in general? Were you surprised there wasn't a lot and any more? What caught your eye when it came to the MLB draft and Arkansas really getting decimated by it?
Well, I think with those compensatory picks that you have, the 4 in the first round, technically, I think that I thought that there'd be at least be 3, but to get 4 was, a good deal. 2 of them going to the Dodgers, which will make some people happy. But I think that when you look at overall, I expected them. It was going to be iffy on Justin Thomas and whether he was coming back. I thought Parker Cole would go, so you kind of swap those out, and I think they're better served having a left-handed pitcher coming back who may be a starter now than another outfield, because they loaded up in the portal in the outfield.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about the portal in just a second, but I want to start with Coyle because that's been the biggest news so far. When we talked to DVH a little earlier this month, he said, look, we weren't surprised. We were happy that Parker Coyle is back. I think a lot of media, you could say, was very surprised he was coming back. Just again, if he was healthy the entire season, he probably would have been drafted much higher than he initially was. How big is that when you look at the 2026 season that Parker Coyle is officially back and he's going to be able to probably be the frontline guy for this Razorback team, maybe the number 2 behind Gabe Gackle?
Yeah, I think it's just a big pickup, and they did miss out on a couple of guys I think that they wanted to in pitching. You do, as you said, you got Gabe Gackle back. Cole Gibbler is probably going to be in there too. You've got some others that will, but Parker Cole, he's going to get the opportunity to start. He's been devastating in the relief roles, and sometimes he's gone 3 or 4 innings. In college baseball, you can expand from 3 or 4 innings to 5 or 6, 7 real quick, and he's always had the stuff. And let's be honest, I'm sure he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, and this will be a contract year for him per se.
Yeah, it's a benefit for Arkansas getting a guy like Parker Coyle back. And now you look at the rotation, and right before it was kind of like, well, Gackle, they tried at a starter, and he didn't really do so well and moved back to the bullpen, had a great end of the year. Cole Gibbler, a young guy who you were kind of hoping is going to take this Gabe Gackle in year 2 jump, right? Like what we thought Gackle was going to be when we were talking about this back in February heading into the season. And then from there's a lot of question marks, right? You get some transfers, one from Vandy and McIlvain, a guy from Oklahoma and a Little Rock native, Jackson Wells. Little Rock transfer ends up going elsewhere, doesn't end up making it to campus. Are you more or less concerned right now with the Arkansas pitching staff? Then we'll get into the lineup. But where are you right now with this pitching staff as we head into, eventually fall baseball in a couple of weeks?
I would say I'm a little bit more worried about the hitting. I mean, the pitching instead of the hitting, because I think they loaded up, with the outfield and really good, on the offensive players. The pitching, there's a lot of guys with great stuff. You mentioned Evan McIlvain, who started as Vanderbilt's number 2 guy last year for 5 games. Didn't really go well for him. He closed well at the end of the year, and he's overjoyed at the possibility of working with Matt Hobbs, And, I think that's going to be great for him. He could be your number three starter, or he could elevate himself even more. You got Colin Fisher, obviously, is
Hmm.
another guy. And the elusive, off injured Hunter Dietz is another guy who, has really, you'd love to see him in action more than 2 games a year, which he's had. Also, Steele Eves had a great summer. And, he'll be at the back of that bullpen now. And as Coach Van Horn said, maybe you get Carson Wiggins back midway through late in the year. You've got some freshmen, at least 3 freshmen who are really good. Or will they be ready? To start in the SEC on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night? Maybe not, but they'll be ready to throw midweek games and really work themselves into, the lineup with some innings down the line.
I love that you brought up Steele Eves. I was like jumping to bring up Steele's name just because he's had a great summer and people are forgetting, and I think even we forget, and it's something DVH brought up where he was like, yeah, at the end towards Omaha, I was ready to throw Steele Eves in a game in like the 6th inning, and when it's a close game because that's how much trust he had in a guy like Steele. Everybody knows Steele Eves from jumping into the pond after they headed to Omaha and punched their ticket beating Tennessee, but it's really exciting that the pitching, I don't think, maybe people think it's a bit concerning because Arkansas in the portal wise, they didn't really land any massive names. They don't have a guy coming over like Zach Root, who was highly touted, landing Shees when they had to rebuild their entire rotation last year. This year, it feels like there's more consistency from 2025 as we enter and get to 2026. But let's talk about the hitting. It's something that you brought up. You're a little concerned on it. I think everybody is fair to be. But you start in the outfield. Micah New is a guy who's going to come in and hopefully make an instant impact. Was the MVP of the Cape League. What excites you about what Arkansas did to rebuild the outfield for 3 years in a row now?
Well, you talk about McAnuga, and I really think that that was a guy who had to play shortstop at his school last year. Had a whopping 33 errors. We know that's not his spot. He played in the outfield. I think 33 of the 36 games he played center field this year. That's probably going to be his spot this year. I do like the young man that has already been here. Brendan Clark had an
Mm-hmm.
outstanding. He was the MVP of his team out there. Also was in the All Star game, so he had a great year as well. He's somebody that they're gonna, have a chance. The young man from Missouri State that transferred, and his name it's off the list now. He has got an
Zach,
opportunity
I
to,
think, is his first name.
yeah, Zach Stewart, Zach
Yes.
Stewart, and yeah, he has. He had a great season 2 years ago. Not as good last year. He wanted a change of scenery. He's going to battle for that right field, and of course, the other outfielder slash first base slash DH slash you got to get him in the lineup somewhere is the remaining Aloy.
That was the next thing that I was going to bring up is Kahio Aloy. You got to assume, right? Like we saw him kind of all season. It was maybe he would be in right field where Logan Maxwell ended up taking that spot, and that was a fun battle that we watched for a while. But then there's the potential. So let's get, okay, he's working at first base. Maybe he'll slide there. Reese Robinette, it seems pretty steady there. But I think the infield conundrum is still really fascinating because you have essentially 2 second basemen in Nolan Souza and Cam Kojal returning. You also got a pretty big name in TJ Pompey from Texas Tech who comes over and it seems like he might slot in at third base or shortstop. And even Dave was like, we might put Cam Kojal at third base. And it seems like the only 2 guys in the infield that have their spot locked down is Reese Robinette and, of course, the summer of Ryder Helfrich as it just kept going on and on and on, and as he just kept hitting no matter where he went, whether that was, at Arkansas in the College World Series and even, out with the USA Collegiate Baseball National Team was fun to watch. So other than that, it's a toss-up on what this Arkansas infield is going to look like in 2026.
Yeah, and Coach Van Horn made it very clear that he doesn't see Cam Kosel as the first baseman. He sees Reese Robinette over there or somebody coming in. He wants to give Cam Kosel the opportunity to play where he's going to play in the minor leagues slash major leagues. We hear a lot about his fishing, and he had a really good season last year, and got the chance obviously to go home and play the College World Series. That infield is going to be in flux. Souza won't be ready to play fall ball, which starts September 3rd. Looking forward to that. A lot of people are going to win jobs or lose jobs during the fall.
What job, what position battle are you most looking forward to watching kind of develop as we get into the fall?
Third base, as you mentioned, they've got several candidates over there. Even Landon Schaefer,
Mm-hmm.
the young man who is from Fayetteville High, that they didn't think they were going to get through the draft, but got him through. He has he's a big dude and has the opportunity to play over there at third as well. You're going to try to get his bat in the lineup, as you mentioned, Pompey. Cozil. Robinette has even played third base. I mean, you're going to have a plethora of options over there. So third base is probably what I'm looking because I think once you get your third base set, then it allows you to facilitate the rest of the infield.
And Dudley, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Nolan Souza played a little bit of third base back in 2024 as well. So even he has flexibility, and as a bigger guy, you would think maybe it'd be a more natural fit to play a third base position because he definitely has some size and some height and some weight when it comes to comparing him versus Cam Kojal. But again, we saw Kojal struggle a little bit at second base during the College World Series, not when it came to errors or anything, but turning double plays. That was something that really hurt the Hogs in Omaha, and clearly it hurt them against LSU in that final game.
Throw it to second. Throw it to second.
I think that's going to be something that Arkansas fans ask themselves questions about for years to come of, why didn't you just go to second? Why didn't you turn the double play? Whatever. We don't have to get there. We don't have
But
to.
what a great, I mean, that's about the only bad thing we can say about the dude who won the Golden Spikes Award.
Yeah, he was great, except he just didn't throw to second base and give yourself a chance, right? Like, beggars can't be choosers. There's only so much we can complain about. Let's wrap baseball before we get into some softball news. We've talked about kind of the excitement and the position battles you're looking forward to 2025, but we haven't talked about the headline name probably on the pitching staff, and that's Gabe Gackle. What is the jump you're expecting him to have now that he's got a whole 2 years here at Arkansas under his belt? And now he's got to be the guy. There's like no choice for him not to be the guy in the rotation.
Yeah, I think there was a little pressure on him last year. I don't know that being the SEC preseason pitcher of the year was a good thing for him from the first start on, and he was great in fall ball. I mean, really threw the ball well in fall ball. Once the first start, didn't do very good. Things kind of slid. Then they moved him back to reliever, and obviously he did wait. But by the end of the year, when he came in, in the College World Series, I think he was the Gabe they expected, and I think that guy will start. He'll be the number one guy, and he may be the SEC pitcher of the year this year.
Yeah.
Because he will have gone through the adversity and handled the fire and be ready to go now.
Yeah, it'll be fun to see what jump Gackle makes in year 3 on the hill. And then assuming him and Ryder Helfrich both first-round picks, pretty much shoo-ins. I will say a quick hot take, and I think we've talked about this before, your expectations really quickly for Ryder Helfrich in year 3 as well. I've got him, and Mike Irwin and I have talked. We think he's going to be a Golden Spikes candidate next year. I think there's no question. I'm curious what you think about Ryder.
All league catcher, Golden Spikes Award watch list, and I expect him to be the leader of this baseball team. He's been here, he's done it. It was a little hard for him last year because he didn't play as much, but he is the guy. He's the guy this year, and I expect big things out of him, and I expect both him and several of his teammates to be very rich men in July of next year.
Absolutely. It'll be fun to see how this baseball team does. Dudley, we'll check in about baseball in a couple of weeks. I know we both have to get to the football ground. You've got Razorback Stadium behind you, but let's talk a little softball before we let you go. A couple of changes are obviously coming. The coaching staff, I think, is the biggest one. The team had their first meetings earlier today. Parker Staggs was just announced to be joining the Arkansas softball coaching staff. He'll be an assistant, mainly working with the pitching staff. Matt Michael, DJ Gasso, now associate head coaches. How cool is it to see Gasso and Michael get good promotions, and then you bring in a new face to hopefully help Courtney Deifel and that Arkansas pitching staff, who all of them, Peyton Burnham, Robin Herron, Lexi King, Cam Harrison, they're all coming back for another year.
Yeah, Parker is. I'm happy for Parker. He was a manager, obviously, back here, and as many people know, I was a manager for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Got to be a graduate assistant the last couple of years. You'd love to see that because those guys put in the work. But I think that staff, obviously, you hate to lose Danielle, but she got the opportunity where they're throwing a lot of money around these days. So I think they've got the opportunity, and I realize how stupid this sounds, but I think they have the opportunity to be better on the mound this year. I think they have the opportunity to be better in the field, except possibly at first base. Even though they went out and got a young woman that they hit 15 home runs there last year. I just really think that freshman class from last year and the freshman class from this year are just absolutely loaded. And just got done doing an interview with Peyton Burnham's brother, who is who's going to be he's an Arkansas baseball commit. He'll be up there in a couple of years, and we were talking about how Peyton Burnham closed the year last year, and I think she's going to be absolute stud this year, and I think she's going to be backed up by a pitching staff that they feel, I'm told, they feel, because Courtney Deifel has not told me this, but they feel that it is going to be one that you don't have to have an absolute ace, but you might have 3 of them.
Yeah, it's not like you've got Robin Herron, who's been one of the best pitchers in the SEC the last couple of years, as maybe who could be the number 2 by the end of the year. That's how good this Arkansas team is. And Jacob and I have talked about it where it's like you
Cam
return
Harrison has
basically.
entered the chat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Lexi King might make a step forward. Who knows what's going to happen? And then you look at kind of the field, and it's like, yeah, you lose Bree and you lose Courtney Day, but Dakota Kennedy was one of the top transfers coming over from Arizona, and she kind of slides into that Reagan Kramer role because Reagan's now graduated, and it's like, wow, you still have Reagan Johnson. I'm curious, Ramsey Walker, Kaylee Wyckoff also coming back. Maybe Kennedy Miller figure something out at bat this year because she's so good behind the plate. And same with your kind of defense. Italia Rijo could take a step forward. So curious for you kind of where you see, because we feel that you're right. This team might even be better than they were when you're losing the National Player of the Year.
I'm a huge Reagan Johnson fan. I think the phrase, and I may get it wrong, that water covers 60% of the earth and Reagan Johnson covers the rest. Just always she makes great plays out there. I think they're going to be solid again out there. You won't have Kramer's corner, but you will have what I think is a really good outfield. I really expect the defense to take a step up this year.
Yeah, and that's something that was definitely questions. And they were so good. Don't get me wrong, but it'll be interesting to see where they continue to get better as we head into fall ball. Dudley, anything else before we go baseball, softball wise? Anything else we missed before we let you get out of here?
Now, baseball obviously starts its practice September 3rd. Softball starts September 8th. I'm ready for it, ready to see the newcomers, ready to see who has stepped it up because there are some jobs open.
Absolutely. What about softball really quickly? We've gotten to the baseball jobs. What are the softball position battles that you're looking forward to?
I think they're pretty set. I mean, you certainly have some pitchers coming in, but obviously they brought it in a couple portals who I think you don't bring them in to be bench players. It's going to be a knockdown drag out. They had 13 or so players they could roll in there last year. I think that number's even up this year. The depth is you're not going to have a Brie Ellis. I don't think you're going to have anybody win that award, but I do think the depth at every position is if you only didn't have to play in the SEC, huh?
Exactly. That would be nice. It's not like the reigning national champs the last 5-6 years have all come from the SEC. Oh, wait, they have. That's the crazy part, is that now Texas is on that list. Oklahoma's been so good. Who knows? Maybe 2026 is finally a year that Courtney Deifel and company break through and get to Oklahoma City and get to the Women's College World Series. Only time will tell. Dudley, a long way till then, but we'll have you back here for fall ball. We'll do a recap in a couple of months, but that's going to do it right now for the rubber match. Thank you so much to Dudley Dawson for hopping on. We'll close up shop after the break. Stick around. Like I already said, big thank you to Dudley Dawson for joining the show this week. That's pretty much it for the rubber match. We've done more or less everything that we've needed to cover when it comes to Razorbacks in the field. We talked a little bit about the MLB draft. We talked a little bit about Courtney Deifel's softball team, and we'll dive into that, right? Like I brought it up in the first block. Now we're in the C block, technically, if you want to get TV term specific. But Dudley also had some really good insight there. Some changes to Courtney Deifel's coaching staff. Danielle Gibson-Horton not going to be on the staff in 2026, so that will be a change. Hence why Parker Staggs is going to come on board. But that's pretty much our show for the week. It's been really exciting. We've got a lot of MLB news. Again, follow along with all the guys from the 2025 team. We'll have all of that on our social medias, YouTube, website, Instagram, you name it, 479 First as well. We'll have all of that information out for you. So it's a fun time. If you guys have any baseball, softball specific questions you want to ask, anything fall ball that I can answer, like I've already said, drop a comment, drop a like down below. Let me know what you think. If you at home have ways that maybe we can change the show for 2026. Anything you want to see that I haven't done, I'm always open to suggestions and love hearing from you guys, the fans, because at the end of the day, as fun as it is for me to make these videos, you guys got to be the ones watching it and enjoying it and coming back every single week, which you guys were so great, especially during that postseason run for the Razorbacks. So the rubber match, we will return in October. I'll have a fun fall ball special plan that's coming up really shortly. But for now, for the rubber match, I'm Evan Kamiko. As always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for Dudley Dawson for coming on the show. We'll see you very soon. Enjoy fall, everybody. Go to the Razorback Stadium and enjoy it. That was a horrible ending, but we're going to call it on that. Bye, everyone. Have a good one.